Welcome to Souqnews Television. We are reaching you live from our studios in the city of Lagos. I'm Oyinpriye Krumale. This is the news update. The federal government has reopened the online recruitment portal for Nigeria's paramilitary agencies effective on Monday, July 21st, 2025, following a brief suspension for the system's upgrades. The Civil Defense, Correctional Services, Fire and Immigration Services Board announced that applicants who had already begun the application process are now advised to return to the portal to complete their submissions. The suspension, originally enacted on July 16, was aimed at resolving access to difficulties caused by heavy traffic, which led to repeated crashes and login errors. This nationwide recruitment targets qualified Nigerian citizens between the ages of 18 and 35, offering roles across the general duty, inspectorate and assistant cadres based on academic credentials, positions, and other agencies. We're going to break, and when we return, the news continues. Do stay with us.
Broad Street. Broad Street, situated in Lagos Island, is steeped in Nigerian history. Once the biggest financial hub of the country, it housed the headquarters of major banks, linked to CBN, the stock exchange, and the loads of lender companies. Broad Street is a historically significant street. It has played a central role in the development of Lagos and history, an important commercial and administrative center for the British colonial authorities. It was also a home to some of the city's earliest modern buildings. Broad Street was a residential area in the pre-colonial era. With the British came the Methodist Boys High School in 1878 and the Broad Street Prison in 1882, renamed Freedom Park. The General Hospital, which was a British military hospital, was built in 1893, being the first general hospital in Nigeria. The old British Secretariat building, which is now the Federal Ministry of Justice, was built in 1906. Broad Street has seen a full turn into modern commercial office blocks, complexes, skyscrapers, and markets from the outer marina through Akpombo early into the Adeliji-Adele Road. Broad Street is one of the busiest streets in Nigeria on weekdays, where commercial activities take place day and night. From modern buildings to ancient structures, this street gives one a raw dose of life in Lagos. Broad Street is often referred to as Lagos Financial District. It boasts a mix of architectural styles, reflecting its long history, colonial-era buildings, Victorian and Edwardian architectural features, alongside more modern skyscrapers and structures. Broad Street remains a vital, vibrant part of the Nigerian economy. Broad Street. Souk Enlightenment.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us. Now, the Nigerian Naira closed last week marginally weaker at 1,532 Naira 34 kobo to the United States dollars in the official foreign exchange market, despite intermittent intervention by the Central Bank of Nigeria, although the Naira had touched a 4-month high of 1,518 Naira 88 kobo to the dollar earlier in the week. It eventually retreated following fluctuating demand, ending the week with a 0.14% depreciation. At the parallel market, the Naira traded within the 1,535 Naira to 1,544 Naira, in a band reflecting ongoing pressure from the currency supply gaps. Analysts attribute the Naira's mixed performance to uneven foreign exchange liquidity and evolving investor sentiment, with higher crude outputs and improving reserves rising by $422 million to a $37.85 billion signal and stronger fundamentals. The market stability remains fragile, with the Monetary Policy Committee set to meet this week. Expectations are mixed as some analysts urge the rate cuts amid falling inflation, while others caution against undermining recent foreign exchange reform progress. Now, Japan's weekend election outcome has heightened expectations for increased government spending and fiscal deficit, despite the country's already substantial public debt. The ruling coalition loss of its upper house majority has triggered policy uncertainty. Both global investors remain unfazed. A resilient domestic economy combined with persistent demand from foreign buyers has helped keep Japanese government bond yields relatively stable. The long-term bonds remain attractive, supported by low interest rates, a weak currency, and steady institution inflows. Analysts argue that Japan's status as a net creditor nation and its deep pool of domestic savings reduce the risk of market instability. With over $3 trillion invested overseas and inflation returning after years of stagnation, Japan is better positioned to absorb fiscal pressure. Foreign investors continue to see the value in Japanese bonds, with yields climbing modestly, but now not alarmingly. It expects to predict a gradual rise in long-term yields as monetary policy tightens, but no immediate threat to financial stability is foreseen, according to reports. Now, oil prices remained stable on Monday, July the 21st, 2025, as market reacted calmly to the European Union's latest sanctions against Russia. Analysts noted that the sanctions are expected to have minimal impact on global oil supply as Russia continues to navigate restrictions effectively. Now, Brent crude traded slightly lower at $69.16 per barrel, while the West Texas Intermediate held $67.34. Concerns also linger around potential disruptions from Iran's upcoming nuclear talks and new United States tariffs on European imports set to begin August the 1st. Despite the geopolitical development, market analysts predict oil will remain within the $64 to $70 range for the week, supported by tight inventory data and steady global demand. Michelle Alozie, a key Super Falcons defender at the ongoing Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco, continues to earn global admiration, not only for her defensive prowess, but also for her part-time role in cancer research. The 28-year-old Yale University graduate works as a research technician at Texas Children's Hospital, where she studies acute leukemia. Speaking with Confederation of African Football Media, Alozie said her dual pursuit of football and medicine is driven by passion. Off the field, one of her proudest moments was inspiring a young patient battling leukemia, gifting her a football jersey. As Nigeria prepares to face South Africa in the semi-finals, Alozie's story stands as a powerful example of purpose and dedication beyond the pitch. Now, many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Souqnews TV. Coming up shortly is Just Africa. Do stay with us.